Bitcoin right now has absolutely pumped to the downside, crashing all the way down to prices we haven't seen since like yesterday. But with GBTC outflows continuing to hover above about $500 million for the last few trading days, are the bulls about to receive a major spanking? Or in fact, are the bears about to be banged? Not a little bit, but banged a lot. After Bitcoin absolutely exploded, reached new all-time highs yesterday, we have seen a continuation, slightly even higher levels of GBTC outflows, which absolutely has been contributing to Bitcoin receiving potentially the biggest dump we've seen in the last few days, all the way currently about 1%. This is massive, okay? This is a big deal. But I'm going to show you exactly in this video why this might actually be a little bit bigger than most people realize. So if you understand that sometimes before the biggest pumps come the teensy-weensiest little dumps, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to FEMEX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without any further ado, let's absolutely dive into these charts, which are telling us something very big. If we look at Bitcoin on the daily chart, we have now crashed all the way down to prices we haven't seen since yesterday. And this is taking a toll on people. And I want to highlight something. I'm on social media. I read comments, quite literally thousands of comments. It's quite honestly almost too much. But honestly, it is pretty impressive. I feel like, and I've read probably one of my motivations for talking about this is because I read about 5 comments in the period of, I don't know, a minute, 30 seconds. And they were just comments that were just, you could tell the fear behind the comment. These people are just scared. They're afraid that we're going to get dumped on. They're afraid that every single time Bitcoin pumps, it's just a trap. And that is exactly, quite literally exactly why the people that were posting dumb charts like this for the past 12 months were getting so much engagement, because it clicks with people, right? They're deep down scared because of what happened in the last bull cycle or in the last bear market. They are scared, quite honestly traumatized. And that is exactly how the disbelief rally of these markets needs to occur, right? For disbelief to happen, most people cannot be believing that we could actually start going up, that we could actually start entering a new bull market. And charts like this are beautiful to me because they perfectly encapsulate the fear people really have. This is like, this is the most idiotic chart that I have drawn potentially ever, right? This is so dumb. But this chart strikes fear into people, right? Just a big scary arrow going down to 10K. And people have been drawing this chart for so long. And it works. It gets engagement and it gets people going because it activates a fear response in you, right? We all know this. It's a psychological phenomenon that drives these markets. And these silly lines, I think still to the downside are still in the back of a lot of people's minds. Bitcoin has dropped on the daily chart to prices that we saw yesterday. And the fact that I have seen a massive increase in comments, because these people only comment when Bitcoin has a red day, because they don't have any other opportunity. When you have all these green days, they're probably too scared to comment. But anyway, I think this is really important. Even if you're not bearish, I think it's very important because overall the sentiment that I'm analyzing still is somehow bearish. And I think that that's very good in terms of this still being the beginning of an uptrend. Never mind all of the on-chain data, all the technicals, all the fundamentals of why I think we're going way higher. The sentiment itself is perfectly checking the box of like exactly where we want to be before we actually start exploding to the upside. If I'm being quite honest, every pullback we have is just littered with fear. It's honestly impressive. Now, we're seeing GBTC sending about 7,000 Bitcoin in Coinbase Premium this morning, is about a little over $500 million, which is a little bit more than yesterday, but the inflows from the 9 are still obviously bigger. The sell-off from GBTC, it doesn't look to be over just yet. It will be at some point, but it looks like, maybe it'll be another week or so of these outflows, at which point when we start having less and less of these GBTC outflows, I think there's almost no direction. It'll just be a lot easier for Bitcoin to pump to the upside. And we're seeing Van Eck actually doing massive trading volume today because what happened yesterday, they got rid of their management fees. They put them to 0 for basically the next year. They got rid of their fees for an entire year, and look what their volume's doing. The ETF wars are absolutely heating up. More are going to do this to try to get more customers, right? I think that's going to happen. And this is interesting as well. Neste, I mean, this to me is just clockwork, easy, makes sense. We look at this kind of vertical accumulation that has always led to expansion. We see this in cycle after cycle. This vertical accumulation very often leads to massive busting. So basically, I want to talk about something big now, and that's this. Okay. We could get a pullback, and I don't think we will, but we could get a pullback about 15% from the highs we've put in so far, which would be down to about 61, 62. And easily we could also go to a $60,000 price target per Bitcoin. And it would be one of the healthiest things that this market could do. So you heard what I said, right? We could get a pullback over, at the time of recording, another $10,000 pullback. And it would be one of the healthiest things that Bitcoin could do. Now, do you think if we got a $10,000 pullback that most people would be thinking what I just said? No. Most people would be very scared. They would say, actually, this is what's going to happen. Tyler, you said if we got a six, you said whatever I said, it doesn't matter. People feel very confident every little drop that it's going to turn into this. And it has not happened. People have been drawing that same line the entire way up. And I think that's even contributing to why people are at this point. I think it's like a sunk cost fallacy. They're just going to keep sticking to this narrative until they've just been gigabanged so hard that they have no other choice but to admit defeat. Or they might end up doing what some crypto influencers do, which is, they miss this entire pump and they'll just wait until the inevitable next bull market. They'll just stay bearish through the entire bull market, and then they'll be proven right when it crashes in about a year, maybe 18 months from now or something. So with that being said, I think it's very important. I think this video is mainly to highlight that, hey, we could still dump a pretty large amount, a solid 15% easy, maybe even a little more than that, another 15%, and it would be perfectly fine for the price of Bitcoin. It would reset some of this momentum. But simply, what I just said is more technical analysis. What I've also been saying over the past few weeks is that the Bitcoin ETFs, if they continue these massive inflows, we have so many buyers waiting. We have institutional and retail buyers waiting for those big drops that if we even get those crashes, I think they will just simply get bought up so fast that basically only limit orders already placed will have a chance of getting filled. Your market orders you probably won't have a chance to put in a market order, because I just think that, what happened last time we got a big dump? It was here, and it was basically reversed in the same daily candle. And this is the only price action we basically have since the ETFs have been approved. From here to here, this is what has happened. Immediately following, when we had the biggest amount of GBTC outflows and doubts about the ETFs, that was the biggest dump we've had. And it was what? I think it was 20%. It was not even that bad. Yeah, it was 20%. And then in this intraday candle, we had legitimately a 15% dump that was immediately bought back up. What would happen if from the highs, what if we got a 15% candle again, go down to about 61, 62,000, and then by the end of the day, we're back above 68, 69, and then the next day we're back above 70 and maybe up to 75,000. Is that the time to be bearish? No. I mean, at the time of me recording, Bitcoin right now is continuing to climb. Already. So, I mean, the thing is, if we get dumps, I sincerely hope you literally have your eyeballs attached to your screen so you can take advantage of it. Because if you're not at your computer or at your phone for like 30 minutes, you might miss any dump that we've gotten or that we'll get. The point here is, do not be scared at this. It's insane. I don't know. Like, on one end, I want people to stop being scared because I think it's silly. But on the other hand, the more scared people are, the higher I think we'll go. So it's kind of like it's almost like a win-win, kind of. But I just wish people would be a little more rational and not get scared every little itsy-bitsy drop we get. I feel like just seeing the color red activates something in people where they just start getting so scared and shriveling up into a little ball. But with that being said, everything is absolutely on track for in my opinion, again, price appreciation big time. Actually, the last time we got a bigger dump was exactly a week ago last Tuesday. This was our big dump last Tuesday. That was the last red daily candle we had, was exactly 1 week ago on the 5th. Today is the 12th. And what was I wonder what the week before that, if that was also a Tuesday when we got a red candle. Either way, price looks very constructive here. If we got a pullback to at least 62,000, that would still be healthy. And in fact, you look at a weekly chart for Bitcoin, we could go even lower in a multi-week downturn. And that's exactly what I would expect if we did not have these Bitcoin spot ETFs. That is exactly what I would expect. But because of these Bitcoin spot ETFs, and I'll keep saying this, I simply don't know if we can go that low and enter such a sustained dump. We could, we just haven't seen it yet. And nobody can say for sure if something like that will or will not happen until it actually happens. Because most people underestimated the inflows from this Bitcoin spot ETFs, right? Most people underestimated that. I think it would be silly. Common sense would tell you, hey, maybe don't keep underestimating what they can actually do in terms of pushing this market up. If we do have a crash, maybe $20,000 in the next few weeks, and we stay in that range for a week or two, then we can say, okay, these Bitcoin spot ETFs are very good, but also they can't just keep the market going up forever. But until that actually happens, we can't assume that's realistic, right? We can't just assume that. And get signed up to FEMEX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without any further ado,